Yeah, okay. Me, not Ilse, yeah?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
What is Fastcheck?
Hi, Ilse, thanks for having me. So Fastcheck is a shopping checkout solution for consumers that are in the market to buy items on finance. So when you go onto a shopping website, a retail website, and you've selected your item and you're about to pay, you'll typically see a checkout solution there where you can select how you want to pay for that item. What we've done is we've created a solution that allows consumers to do that and purchase items using finance. We've started off with auto finance, so that's a prime example. A lot of cars are purchased using finance. So we've created a checkout solution which allows consumers to facilitate that transaction.
So let's unpack that a bit, because people listening might think, well, hang on a minute, can't I do this anyway? Mm-hmm. So, and let's start with, where did it all begin?
Yeah, it's a great point. So Fastcheck actually started off as a different name. It started off as a company called Credit Card, and Credit Card was set up because of my frustration as a consumer. So my background isn't automotive or finance. My background is legal, but I've got a passion for cars, and I brought many cars on finance. And back in 2018, I was in the market to buy a car on finance. Found a great car, fell in love with it. My excitement levels were up there, and then I came to the financing part of it, right? So I went onto the retailer's website, the car dealer's website, and I thought, right, I want to do two things. Number one, I want to get an accurate quote for finance on this car, and number two, I want to understand my eligibility with the lenders that work with that particular dealership. I couldn't do either of those things, right? There were the tools that were available to me as a consumer back then were representative calculators, which will give me an indication of what the rate would be. There were inquiry forms, there were chatbots, and there was the ability for me to formally apply for finance, which meant giving employers' details, bank account details, and undergoing a hard credit search. So at that point in my journey as a consumer, I thought, this isn't a great experience. Why can I not, as a consumer, get an accurate quote for finance and understand whether I'm going to be accepted by the lenders that work with that car dealer?
So either it was not a strong enough indication, or you were having to give up too much info about yourself.
There was no indication at all. It was simply that this is a representative example of what 51% of customers typically get.
Right.
If you want to apply
not
for it,
tailored to you.
Then try your luck. It was one of those ones, really.
Yeah. And so from there, then.
Yeah. So identified a pain point there. So I thought, you know what, there's potentially a gap in the market here. So I researched the market to see if there was anything that would give me those two things that I was looking for, and I couldn't find anything. So what I did back then, I started researching the market, and I found a pain point from the regulator, the FCA. They were investigating motor finance and how it was sold. So I thought, wow, pain point on the consumer side, pain point on the regulator side. Then I built a basic prototype, and I took it to the former CEO of Volkswagen Financial Services.
Okay.
Reached out to him on LinkedIn. Sent him a message. I had a message back within the same minute and said, really like what you're doing, and give me a call, here's my number. Ended up meeting with him, and he was my first recruit into Credit Card, and he really helped me validate the proposition with banks and with lenders, and from there it really kind of started taking off.
Wow. And just before we go into the sort of more of that area around partnerships and people that have helped along the way, just unpack the name change then. So were Credit Card, now Fastcheck, because?
Yeah, so proposition originally started off because of my frustration as a consumer when I was buying a car. But as we've been working with banks and with retailers, we've seen appetite for our solution for other verticals. So any vertical where consumers buy items on finance, that could be sofas, it could be any type of furniture, electrical goods, bathrooms, suites, or whatever the case might be. So we've had a lot of demand from retailers in other verticals for our solution. And a lot of the lenders we're working with at the moment also have retail finance solutions. So we needed a name that was more kind of, it was suited to the verticals, and it was more consumer friendly, and we chose the name Fastcheck. It's gone down really well with retailers and with banks. So yeah, I think it's a good move for us.
So then you've got that grounding with which now to go into different areas. What are customers excited about then from doing this, either from the retailer side or from the lending side, or the actual consumer purchasing stuff?
Yeah, so I'll probably start off with the consumer. first. So in terms of the consumer, what we allow is we allow the consumer to self-serve their finance quotes, right? So they can go onto a retailer's website now, put in some basic details, and we can give them pre-approved quotes from the entire lending panel of that retailer. But not just that, we allow the consumer to interact with those quotes so they can build their monthly payment and build their offer. And all of this is with the soft search, right? We're not harming their credit file. We're not asking them for sensitive information like employer's name and address and bank account details. We've got a lien form. Once they give us that information, we can give them accurate pre-approved quotes. What they see is what they get. In addition to that, we just completed a financial inclusion tech sprint with the FCA. And that's all about providing education, transparency and awareness to consumers.
Up in the protection levels.
Exactly, because consumer duty is a new principle that's been launched by the FCA, and retailers that are offering finance need to obviously play by the rules.
Yes.
And our solution helps them do that. One example is the financial inclusion piece. So if a consumer is interacting with any one of their quotes that they've got, and they end up, let's say car finance, for example, lenders like customers to put a deposit in, right? Yeah. If you end up configuring your quote to zero deposit, you are going to fall out of a number of lenders' rules. Now, our solution educates you and tells you that you've just qualified yourself out for that particular quote, and it educates you on what you have to do to re-qualify yourselves back in. In addition to that, we also educate consumers on the impact of their behaviour with quotes. So if they've increased their term from 3 years to 5 years, we tell them that that's great. The loan will be more affordable for you, but you will be paying more interest overall. So there's a massive, we like to call it radical transparency, awareness and knowledge piece going on there. But in addition to that, it's all about giving the consumer accurate quotes, allowing them to make informed decisions. And if they like the finance, they can check out using a number of clicks.
Wow. So to get to that point then, you talked initially about making that initial connection with Volkswagen. Who else has been part of it? We're really just the partnerships that have helped businesses during the series. So are there any standout partners that you'd like to mention on, and how's that value exchange worked and been built?
Yeah, it's a great point. So along the journey, I've met a number of partners, and you do find the odd diamond partner here and there who opens up a lot of doors. And I have to say that was actually SuperTech.
Oh gosh,
SuperTech was a.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, SuperTech was a big one for us. So I mean, you've opened a lot of doors and really supported us as a well. Back then we were a startup. You really helped us get into the ecosystem in terms of the fintech, in terms of big banks like BNP Paribas Personal Finance. But also you introduced us to the University of Oxford, where we've made some huge connections, and we've got some great mentors there. We've actually connected with investors and raised investments through that introduction you made to us. So that's been a great partnership for us, and it's not just been from introducing us to other universities like University of Oxford or CDL program. I mean, it has been introducing us to real banks out there who are looking for our solution, and BNP Paribas Personal Finance is a bank that's actually plugged into our solution at the moment. So it's really helped us accelerate our journey.
How did what did you get from them? I suppose what was the tipping point? It was obviously the right fit at the right time, and it's been fascinating to watch your journey from the sidelines. But what was that bit that you've given to them? What's the problem they're trying to solve, and did they give you in return that's helped you then leapfrog to the next level?
Yeah, so I suppose we've spoken about the value proposition for the consumer, so we've got a value prop for the lenders as well. So in terms of the lenders, we help create huge efficiencies for them. So if you picture at the moment, if you go to a typical car dealer, you're going to make an application for finance, and any application can make it through to the lenders, right? There's no gates there that's holding applications back that lenders don't want. Right, so it's kind of a free-for-all, send whatever you want to the lender. For the lender, it's a problem because, number one, it increases cost because they have to do credit searches and all these other searches. But in addition to that, a big proportion of those customers end up to a manual refer, which means there's people sitting there going through these and trying to turn these around. There's a lot of cost, a lot of time, resource there, which slows the whole process down. So there's a lot of
and also is degrading the experience for the consumer.
Sorry, I didn't have the microphone open. Can you say that again?
And presumably is also decreasing the experience for the consumer. As they're going through manual checks, they're not getting that responsiveness, and I want to buy my car now.
That's right. And then that has a knock-on effect to the retailer, because if a consumer's sitting there ready to sign the finance and walk away with it. If it's taking them an hour or 2
They
hours
might
to do
change
that,
their minds.
exactly, and they've lost a sale. So it's important that banks try and turn these decisions around as quick as possible. So what Fastcheck does is it recognizes the type of customers these banks want, because as part of our decision engine that we've built at Fastcheck, we allow lenders to give us certain rules that we host locally within our engine, but then we also allow them to API in some of their rules as well. So we've got a hybrid approach in terms of the decision engine that we've built. What that does is it allows us to match customers to a high degree of accuracy to the bank's criteria, and only let those customers through that we know they want. So that then starts creating efficiencies. It allows them to start speeding up the process, because they're not getting customers that they're not going to write business with. And then that again has a knock-on effect to the retailer, because we're then showing better quality quotes and offers to their customers that they're likely to be accepted for, and speed up that process and make it a better experience.
So then was the BNP Paribas Personal Finance, was that the first, I suppose, go or trying to do that bespoke tailoring of the rules? And well,
Yes, so we did have a couple of other lenders on board. BNP Paribas was one of the big prime lenders that we had on board. A lot of lenders are looking at creating efficiencies, but the soft search functionality, a lot of lenders have been looking at that, I'd probably say, for the past year or so. But a lot of lenders are building their own solutions. What dealers need out there in the market, they need one single solution which provides this functionality for their whole panel of lenders. Right, so customers can then self-serve that from a website.
So rather than having a set of different, I suppose everyone has different login, it's that plethora of solutions, isn't it? But you actually, for the market, you want access to all the different finance, but through one easy, understandable, consumer friendly.
That's right. So it's all about having one solution that gives a kind of a whole of market representation to the customer, and that's what we do at Fastcheck.
Need to find a way to bring it back to partnerships now. So is there anything else you want to mention or explore in terms of how you've developed that, got to this point?
Yeah, so
So I'm going to need to ask you a question about that. Just tell me what the answer is going to be. What is the answer going to be?
for
Is there anyone else that you want to call out?
I was probably going to mention the banks like Santander
Yeah, fine.
and others, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
So you can answer. So last question. So then, success with BNP Paribas Personal Finance, and then where's it gone from there? On the partners that come on.
So that led on to other partners. So we're in discussions with some huge lenders at the moment. I mean, one of the lenders that we've already got plugged into the solution is Santander Consumer Finance, which is, again, a huge name, household name. So that's been a great partnership for us as well. I mean, there's a lot of car retailers out there that work with Santander Consumer Finance. So by having a lender such as that on board with Fastcheck allows us then to offer our solution to more and more retailers out there.
And presumably, as a small startup, but when with brands like that, that helps build that credibility on which to scale to others.
Yeah, it does, absolutely. It does do that. And another partnership which I would like to mention is actually the one where you introduced us, Creative Destruction Lab, which is University of Oxford. So we met some great mentors and connections there who have opened a lot of doors for us as well. One of them who you know is Joe Duar. So Joe was the CEO of a company called GPS, Global Processing Solutions, and they powered the technology behind Revolut and Starling and a few other banks.
Pretty small names then.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, so we met Joe at the CDL program, and she's really opened up a lot of doors for us in the fintech ecosystem. So yes, we're focused on the car finance sector at the moment, but in terms of our future plans, she's really helped us connect with key parties and key partners that can help us achieve what we're looking to achieve in the near future.
Yeah, so broadened your horizons.
Exactly.
What's next? You've done the rebrand, settled, is landed well. You've got the opportunity to go to new verticals. What does the next 12 months look like?
So next 12 months, so we're fully focused on auto right now at the moment. So we're looking to scale out our proposition out to as many retailers as we can in the UK in terms of car dealers. And we're looking to onboard more banks that are focused on that particular sector there. But separate to that, we are getting a lot of demand from other verticals. So we are exploring kind of your furniture finance, your bathroom suite, and so on. So we are in active discussions with retailers at the moment around those verticals. So what we see for the next 12 months, it's really scaling up in the auto sector, but then also start pilots within other verticals and start testing our solution in these other verticals. Moving on from there, we are looking at other territories. So again, some of the lenders we're working with, they're global brands, they're global names, they work in multiple territories. We're already having discussions with them about what our solution could look like in other territories. I'll probably say that's probably 12 months plus.
Yeah, longer term
Yeah,
horizons.
that's right, exactly. Yeah.
Well, we wish you all the very best for that journey and stay close, and no doubt we'll watch your successes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having us today, and we look forward to your continued support.